Alright, hello everyone. I booted up stream slightly early. We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna be making 2 pieces of content today. And one of them, I'm so sad that I just realized that bands basically just did the same thing as me, but hopefully, you know, I got my own little audience. I haven't watched the band's video though, so I think I'll be able to give some, you know, decent feedback, all things considered. But hello to everyone watching the VODs. We'll get started shortly. I want to give people a little bit of time to get in, so, you know, if you're watching the VODs, go ahead and skip 20 or so minutes forward. I mean, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. But there's a lot to talk about. A lot of points that I'd like to make, and honestly, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if the general Multiversus community is going to be too happy with me about some of the stuff I have to say. Hello. Nice to see you. Yeah, we got a lot to get into today. We got a lot to get into. We're making a few pieces of content today. Overall, I've been really enjoying Multiversus Season 4. We'll get into all the specifics once the content piece starts. And I'm really happy that a lot of people are enjoying the game. This is probably the most positive feedback I've seen about the game. We're playing Beetlejuice Online. Alright, I hear you. But this is probably the most positive feedback I've heard about the game in a while, which is very, like, surprising, because ordinarily people love shitting on this game. But, you know, with Season 4, the general outlook on the game has been quite positive indeed. I think it's for a few reasons, but, you know, I definitely don't think it's perfect, of course. I think that there's a lot we have hope for in Multiversus. That's all I'll say for now. I think that things are really starting to turn up. Things are really starting to trend in a positive direction. For those who are here early and or watching the VOD, small announcement. I got Grandmaster. I know I'm not really gonna be able to keep it the entire time because I know I'm not gonna be able to keep it the entire time because I gotta make content. I still have a job that I gotta work, you know, all that good stuff. But, you know, I figured that once the ranks reset and, you know, there's like a push for like who can get Grandmaster, I go ahead and, like, you know, show that I can hang with the best of them. And, you know, I got Grandmaster, number 66, third best Jason. So, you know, we got some good results. I like that you actually have to work for characters that are saying shut up and take my money. Yeah, I agree. I think that we're gonna be talking about Fighter's Road and getting characters. Like, I have an entire segment just talking about that. We have some good stuff to talk about. We got some good and some bad. But yeah, like I said, I got Grandmaster. So hey, if there's ever a question of like, is RPS really good or is he just a content creator? I can hang with the best of them when I want to. I just gotta also juggle content and working a job. You doing viewer matches today? Probably after we do content. I'd be more than happy to. I'd really like to get a... Oh, whoops. I spoiled my script a little bit there. It's not really a script. I just have some talking points that I want to go over for the content. I'm probably not going to share that on stream whenever I'm going over them. Yeah, we'll probably do some viewer matches. I think Arena has gotten better, so I want to try Arena again, but if not, I will just play viewers and play with viewers. You in game today? Sweet, sweet. Yeah, we're gonna wait just a few more minutes just to let everyone get in here before we start getting into all the fun content stuff. Right now, the only DC character I have unlocked is Joker. Hey, Joker's fun. He's got a lot of good stuff here. I'm actually curious. Hold on. I'm curious what the meta's shaping up to be at the moment. Because I've seen a lot of takes on where the meta is right now, and I genuinely don't know. Hey, Jabberson, nice to have you. I always love seeing the regular faces. Same goes for you, Desitron. And the new faces, you know, Skeletork. I'm very glad to have you in the stream chat as well. I appreciate that you guys just give me the time of day in general. But yeah, I'm looking at the fighter insights, and it does look like the meta has gotten shaken up a lot after this latest patch. Arya being one of the top characters in 2v2s is kind of interesting. I think that whenever shields get officially added, we're gonna see another shakeup. So I would not get used to seeing what we're seeing right now. But it is interesting to see what during this kind of like meta limbo, what things are shaping up to be. I never really got the impression that the meta was too much different, but we're gonna be talking about the meta in general today, for Multiverses and how it's changed over the seasons. Yeah, Jet Set Radio, honestly, it's one of my favorite soundtracks. I had more Bomb Rush Cyberfunk in here, but it got copywritten. But yeah, definitely some of my favorite music. Like, if I had to describe what my style of my favorite style of music is, it's like Jet Set Radio, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, stuff like that. I don't know if it has an exact genre that it gets called, but I don't have a YouTube Red, guys. Don't shame me. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. Once it hits 6:10, we'll probably talk about it. But it is interesting to see how the meta shapes up. Is there anything in here in particular that you guys are shocked to see? Because there's quite a bit I'm shocked to see here. I mean, obviously, Rain Dog has always been one of those sleeper characters that, he's not really played a lot, but he's always, had a consistently high win rate, you know? Literally every patch on tracker.gg, he's been, at the bottom of S tier, at the top of A tier. He's, always been pretty good. Can I touch your hair, please? Hey, I like people touching my hair, but... here, I'll touch it a little for you. How about that? Oh. But, yeah, I think the most surprising thing by far, though, is seeing Jake up here. Jake was a character that, has basically, since the game has come out, been considered one of, if not the worst character in the game, consistently through the patches. There was a little bit of time at the very beginning when people are like, oh, well, maybe Velma's a little worse, or maybe, so on and so forth. But a lot of, I'm pretty sure the consensus generally was Jake is the worst character in the game, if we're talking overall through after Multiversus full release. Yeah, I always thought Jake did have, potential. I think he's got, a lot of good stuff. Oh, speaking of which, I don't think we'll do it tonight, but maybe if I stream later in the week, who knows? I might pop on Thursday. We'll see. We'll see if I pop on Thursday. But if I do, I'm gonna be doing it's kind of content schlop, but I think it'll be fun. Just a tier list of the best design characters, and I think I got a lot of interesting stuff. The 1v1 tier is baffling. I can't believe it, but yeah, I seen that. Some of this stuff makes sense, right? I feel it makes sense to see Steven Universe and Arya up there, right? Agent Smith has been strong for pretty much the past 2 patches. He's been really, really strong. Coming out of season 3, general consensus was that Agent Smith was like one of the best characters in the game, if not the best character in the game. But I thought that Agent Smith got hit quite hard after the balance changes in season 4, but apparently not. Apparently he's still doing strong, but I think the thing that everyone's surprised about is seeing Rick up here with a relatively high pick rate and a super high win rate, like an astronomically high win rate. I feel like this is largely a popularity contest, as in whoever the least popular character is played by better players. Yes, whenever you're looking at win rates, I say this I try to make sure I say this every time I bring up the charts, but you have to look at both win rate and pick rate. If a character has a low pick rate but a high win rate, what that means is that it's less likely that someone's picking up the character for the first time and then affecting their win rate, right? If a character has a high pick rate, like here, what's the highest pick rate? Let's say Batman, right? Batman's got a 50% win rate. Would I say Batman is bad, or would I say he's bad? No. In fact, some people might say he's really, really strong right now, and that's because he's played by a lot of players. And the fact that he's played by, a lot of players means that there's probably more people who don't really know what they're doing with the character just yet, that are kind of like tanking his win rate. So even though his win rate is 50%, and that might look like mid or just okay, the high pick rate would kind of counterbalance that. And it works the same vice versa. Like, Raindog has almost always been at the top of the tier list on tracker.gg, but he's also been one of the least played characters in the game. Same thing with, like, Velma, right? If you were to just look at, like, the win rates by themselves, you'd be like, Velma's... Well, now you might think that. But you'd always be like, well, Velma's not weak. She's actually quite good. Have you seen her win rate? She's got, like, a 53% win rate. But if you look at it, she's, like, one of the least played characters in the game. So the people who stick with the character know what they're doing. They're very skilled with the character. And you also have to take into consideration, if less people are playing her, then chances of someone running into her and not knowing what she does or not knowing how to fight her is also a lot higher. So there's a lot of factors to take into consideration. The main things you really need to look out for when you're talking about win rate and pick rate, and I know people who have been in my chat have heard me say this a million billion times, but it's all it's true. Signifiers of a broken character, a really over-the-top broken character, is a high pick rate and a high win rate. If they have both of those, they're broken. And if they have a low win rate and a low pick rate, chances are they're pretty weak. If you have one that's high and the other one that's not too high, then usually the character's fine, but if they have both, then it can become a problem. I'd start to say, like, let's look at Shaggy here. Shaggy's also one of the most played characters in the game, but he's got a solid 50% win rate. Would I say that Shaggy is weak? No. Most people would say Shaggy's quite strong. He got a lot of nerfs recently, but he's still a strong character. I don't think he's going to be, like, falling off in the meta anytime soon. I don't think he's going to be nearly as prominent, but, Just got Batman. Might try him out in a sec. Batman's really fun. He's really, really fun. He was one of the characters I mained before Jason came out. The D tier was confusing to me. Yeah. I think Powerpuff Girl, or I guess you were looking at 1v1s rather. Yeah, Powerpuff Girls is a really weird anomaly. Because for the past this season and the last season, a lot of people would say Powerpuff Girls is one of the leading factors that, like, ruined the game. Like, one of the most meta-dominant characters. Now, the reason why she has a low win rate and a low pick rate relatively, in my opinion, is because she has very specific setups that make her strong. If you don't know what you're doing with the character, then chances are a few factors like being a lightweight and also having a big hurt box are gonna be factors that make you inconsistent, right? And in order to make up for that inconsistency, you have to be on top of your advantage state. And that's something that like you need to put in a little bit of time in order to like figure out. Once Powerpuff Girls gets going, once Powerpuff Girls get going and they know how to do all their setups and their tough to deaths and stuff like that, then it starts getting a little bit more problematic. And you can see that that's like a pretty common theme with both Finn too, right? But yeah, there's just, you know, I think Powerpuff Girls is definitely the biggest anomaly by far. But I think it's because in order for you to succeed with them, you need to know the very specific setups to like touch of death people. And if you don't know how to do that, you're going to struggle with the character. I think the character's weaknesses are somewhat glaring, but if you're able to make up for that with, you know, just consistently touch of deathing people, then chances are it won't matter too much. Okay. Are they angry about not being good for Powerpuff Girls, or are they angry about losing to them? Oh, okay. Because, yeah, I can make a video, but no one will watch. Hey, I'll watch it. I watched one of your videos on stream at one point, I think. Or I might have just talked about it. Alright. But, it's about time. Finn confuses me. Finn's weird. I can't really say too much about him right now. For the longest time, I put, you know, I would say the same he would struggle because of the same reasons as the Powerpuff Girls, where he has like some glaring weaknesses, such as his like charge attacks being like really telegraphed, and you know, he can't hold it forever, so eventually he has to like let it go, and you can like whip punish him and stuff like that. But beforehand, he had like touch of death that would just destroy you. For the most part, those are taken away. So Finn, I want to say Finn's like pretty honest right now. I don't know if they plan on buffing him at all. But at the same time, he's another character with like, he's got a high win rate or a high pick rate. So it kind of makes sense that he has a low win rate as well. All right. But it's about time for content, guys. Okay. So the way we're going to go about this is I have a list of things that I would like to talk about for season. We're going to have to turn off music just so I can edit it later. I apologize, gamers. The way that we're going to go about this is I have a list of things that I really want to talk about for season 4. Here, let me go ahead and start recording. Okay. But yeah, I have a list of things that I really want to talk about for season 4 of Multiverses. We're going to be taking, you know, chat questions and, you know, hearing from chat, see what their genuine thoughts on the game are after I, you know, make all my points. Because I think it's important not just to hear from me, but also hear from the other people playing the game and their opinions of what's going on in Multiverses right now. I want to start off by prefacing that the community reception to season 4 in general has been outstanding. I don't think I've seen this much positive talk about Multiverses in a long time. I think that almost always people have been wanting to pick out a lot of flaws with the game and really bring them to light and showcase like, look, this game sucks. And, you know, it was really surprising to a lot of people when Multiverses got nominated for potentially fighting game of the year. Do I think that they'll win? They got some strong contenders against them like Tekken 8 and the Marvel vs. Capcom Legacy Collection and stuff like that. But regardless, it, you know, started creating another interesting talking point of like, okay, how is Multiverses now? Has it changed? Where is Multiverses now in season 4? So just a recap for people who may not, people who may be watching the video for just a little recap for people who may be watching the video and aren't as familiar with Multiversus since the last time they played. I'd like to just give a little recap, a little bit of history lesson, just so people can like understand where we're coming from and how the game is trending, right? Because if if I start getting on and complaining a lot about Season 4, you're going to think this game is trending downwards, when in reality, that's not really the case. I think I have my pain points with the game, but at the same time, or I think I have my pain points with Season 4, but at the same time, I definitely would not say the game is trending in a negative direction. But let's go ahead and, let's go ahead and get into it. So, I think that it's pretty obvious to a lot of people that when the game first launched, it launched as a flop, right? A lot of people were excited to get back into the game. It hit some of the highest numbers it's ever hit in its entire release, before the beta, anything, right? Some of the highest numbers it could have ever possibly gotten. But a few factors, such as the speed and a lot of the balance decisions and just how broken and buggy a lot of the characters were, really turned off a lot of people. And, they were like, I think I'm done with Multiversus, right? The game flopped on release. I think that's obvious to a lot of people. But I'd like to go ahead and clarify that the game has come a long way. I think you will consistently see people talking on like Twitter and stuff like that about how bad the game is, or how bad these new changes are for the game. But in reality, I think that all of the changes they've been doing have been progressively making the game better and better. A change that, we'll just go ahead and list off some of the changes that I think have made the game better, that people either don't talk about as much, or they talk about it in a negative light, when I don't really think it's a bad thing necessarily. I think that there's things that could be done better about their additions, of course. But I don't necessarily think they're bad for the game. Like, the concept itself is not bad for the game, and they do actively address like problems in the game. You guys probably already know, like, the first one I'm going to mention, teching, right? A lot of people hated automatic teching. It was really buggy. Like, when it first released, people would just straight up die from teching on like the stage or something like that. And the concept of an automatic tech instead of like a manual tech was really stupid to a lot of people. And I think Multiversus kind of got pinned into a tough position because a lot of their combos in the game had relied around the idea of resetting a combo or extending a combo with a ground bounce. So they didn't want to just give teching to people, I guess, right? Because that would inherently mess up a lot of characters' design combo routes and stuff like that. Now, obviously, like we already said, teching in general had its problems. I think anyone can agree to that. But with each iteration, each season, each patch, they've been improving it and improving it, from consistency issues to increasing the tech distance to hopefully avoid loops. Because, for a little while, Tekking's had characters who could just loop tech chases on you, like Tom and Jerry and Superman, and to some extent, Shaggy, made the game like pretty toxic. Some people would even argue that it got rid of loops but added new loops into the game. I think changes to jabs and general defensive gameplay has also been an improvement that they've been really good about as well. Adding the priority system, I think, improved a lot of the general gameplay, as well as nerfing stuff like wall clinging, even though, granted, people probably are still on the wall and the ledge is a little too long. Right? I think anyone can agree to that. And also making dodges a little bit more committal if you don't actually dodge something. They've been adding a lot of different ways to make the gameplay less defensive, more aggressive, and faster in general, right? And trying to patch up a lot of the more toxic and annoying things to deal with in the game. I think that another big point that they've really been addressing and slowly getting better and better slowly getting better and better about is game balance. I know there was a big discourse about season 3 about like, oh my god, season 3 is the worst balance patch of multiverses ever. This is the worst the game has ever been. I'm getting Touch of Death by Banana Guard and Powerpuff Girls. This game sucks. First off, I would just be real with you. You're wrong. If you think that was the worst we've had to deal with in multiverses when Banana Guard and Powerpuff Girls are Touch of Deathing you, dude, were you playing in season 1? Were you playing when Iron Giant had true guaranteed infinites that would last 5 years? Were you playing when Steven Universe and Harley Quinn and Wonder Woman, like Joker, all of them were just looping you for like it from like 0 all the way to death? It's like, this is season 3 was definitely not the worst balanced season by a lot. Season 2, like even season 2 was still trying to patch up a lot of the big issues from season 1, and even then they released Samurai Jack, who released with one of the highest win rates that characters ever dropped with in multiverses. Now since then, Samurai Jack has been nerfed a lot, and his win rate's not nearly as strong or not nearly as oppressive as it once was. But, you know, season 1 and 2, look, like, it's annoying getting, like, laddered in Touch of Death by Banana Guard and, like, carried off stage in Touch of Death by the Powerpuff Girls. But I would 100% say that season 3 was one of the best balanced seasons we've had in a long, like, basically since release. It had its pain points, but come on, it could be worse. It could be, we've noticed it could be a lot worse. Okay. But even so, I do want to mention that, you know, there was still a lot of issues that people had going into season 4. They've made a lot of improvements, but there's still a lot of things that people were making complaints about. One of the biggest things was monetization, obviously. Especially whenever it came to getting characters, like going into rifts, and like there's just a lot of problems that people had with just, you know, game progression in general. I'm sure a lot of people know that one of the biggest issues that Multiversus had was certain characters were locked behind the battle pass. And sure, if you get the battle pass, you can, you know, get enough Gleamium to get the next one for free. You know, pretty standard battle pass procedure, right? But a lot of people were very upset that, you know, if you didn't spend money on the game to get the battle pass, then there'd be an entire character that was locked off to you for 2 months because they were locked behind the battle pass. You could not buy the character in the fighter store until the next season if they were the battle pass character. And a lot of people had a lot of problems with that. And in general, there was a lot of complaints about fighter currency being too difficult to get. Now, I want to come clean, and I want to be honest with you guys. I don't think fighter currency was that bad. I know that sounds really stupid because a lot of people, that was like one of the main gripes a lot of people had. But especially after that tweet from Waidu saying that it takes like, oh god, I don't remember. He said something along the lines of like, it takes 64 hours to get a new character or some like outlandish shit like that. But what a lot of people didn't factor in is the events. The events ended up getting giving exuberant amount of fighter currency. You would be able to just straight up unlock characters like through the event tokens in general, and not I guess not just the like normal of like seasonal events, but also events like the Power Pledge and all these other things, which just give you a shit ton of fighter currency to just unlock characters, right? So I genuinely don't think it was that bad. Sure, it will take a long time still to unlock every character in the game, and whenever you're talking about rifts and trying to get all the rift rewards and stuff like that, that is a problem, and I think everyone would acknowledge that. And especially the fact that there was no option to buy all characters, right? So a lot of people were very upset that they just wanted to get into the game. They wanted to, play their favorite character, and in order to do that, they had to wait a long time. They had to rack up a pretty considerable amount of fighter currency. But look, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't think fighter currency was that bad. I think that's the main takeaway I wanted to get out with that. I think they had a lot of other problems with monetization. Of course, the play a character early for what was it, like $10 or something like that? I don't remember the exact price, but you can buy a character early and play them 3 days early. That obviously felt quite scummy, and not a lot of people like that. And they still do that to this day. So, let's see. I think that there's still a lot of core issues with the general gameplay that, kind of needed to be addressed. For example, short hops were something that were asked for a really long time before Season 4. And I think that shields were something that had been in the talks for a really, really long time. We're gonna get more into shields and what they bring and what they take away from the game later. But for now, it's just important to realize that was one of the important. It's important to realize that shields were one of the important things that was in the talks at the time, before Season 4 came around. Hitboxes in general were like meme worthy, right? There would be like a new hit tweet every day showcasing like, how the fuck did I get hit here? Hashtag multiverses, right? And it was something. It was something. And then ranked, of course, still needed a lot of work. The RP games still didn't really make any sense because a lot of the amount of rank points that you got wasn't really based off of the rank of you or your opponents. Like, a lot of people thought it was very, very confusing when you'd fight a player who's like 2-3 divisions above you, or like ranks above you, and you'd get like +2 RP. But then you could like fight someone who was like 4 or 5 divisions below you, and then you'd get like +40 RP, right? And that's because it was rank point gain and loss is based off of that's because rank points loss and gain is based off of your opponent's MMR, an invisible number that you can't see. So it ended up being really, really confusing to a lot of people. Let's see. And another issue that I really ran into whenever it came to the rank point system, as I was like climbing for Master and Grandmaster and all that fun stuff, was it felt like that if you played 2v2s with a teammate, you'd get actively punished, like pretty hard, actually. I'd had instances near the end of the season where I realized that whenever I queued up with my 2v2 teammate, every time we won, we'd get like +4 RP, +4 RP, +2 RP, +4 RP. I'm pretty sure there's streams that you can go back and watch of me playing in Season 3 where we would win matches and it would be like +3 or +4 RP, like consistently, right? But then whenever I like queued up by myself, I don't know exactly how the MMR system was working. I would consistently win and get like +40 RP, +42 RP, +35 RP. It's like, oh my god, the difference was crazy. So it felt like I was actively getting punished for playing 2v2 in a 2v2 game. It was quite annoying. I understand that they wanted to, I guess, compensate players who were, not really able to have a friend to play with. They wanted to get them back. They wanted to get them in the 2v2 mode, and make up for the fact that they're inherently not going to have that same level of communication or synergy or anything like that. But still, it's very, very obnoxious. All right. But that wraps up pretty much all of the complaints and, I guess, progressions that have went through, that have gone about, or a lot of the progression throughout the seasons of Multiverses. Basically, the takeaway is that I think that yes, the game has a lot of flaws, and it launched with a ton of flaws, a lot of very unsatisfying things. And some moves are still very obnoxious, like punishing Wonder Woman Nair is basically impossible. And there's like a laundry list of moves that you will basically know are coming, but you can't really punish as well. We'll get into that. We'll get into that when we talk about shields. But basically, what I wanted to say was that season 3, or season 1 through 3, has been trending in a positive direction. It might be slower than a lot of people like, but it is trending positively. So, let's step into leading up to season 4. Near the end of season 3, whenever season 4 was announced, it was announced with two. Whenever season 4 was announced, it was announced with 2 highly anticipated characters, Raven and Marceline. This was pretty groundbreaking because ordinarily the seasons had a bad habit of launching with a character that everyone wanted at the beginning of the season, and then something that felt a little bit more like either a cash grab or them just throwing in like an IP to throw in, or something like that. Like, I know a lot of people, whenever season 2 dropped, they're like, yes, Samurai Jack, everyone, like, there was a large part of the community that wanted Samurai Jack, and then Beetlejuice got added. I'm not saying people didn't want Beetlejuice. People, there's definitely people who requested Beetlejuice, but with the release of the movie coming out, it's definitely felt like more of a plug than anything else. And then the next season came out. The Powerpuff Girls came out. Another very highly requested group of characters. And then Nubia dropped. I don't really think Nubia was like a plug or anything like that, but it wasn't a character that people had expected or a one that was very highly requested. You know what I mean? So in general, Multiversus had been following this trend of a highly requested character and then an okay character, So whenever Raven and Marceline got announced, it was big. The internet exploded, essentially. And not only that, the Player First Games in general has been teasing like speed improvements and balance changes all up to the lead up of season 4. Tony himself was getting on saying this is going to be one of the biggest seasons ever, right? They dropped the what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my god. They dropped the splash art and they showed off like obviously the new skin line, the new characters. They also showed out a new the arena mode on the advertisement, as well as a new Fighters Road. So there was a lot of stuff that had been really hyped up, really built up, and a lot of people were really, really excited. This is probably one of the most hyped seasons. This is probably one of the most hyped seasons that this is probably some of the most hype that the Multiverse community has felt in a long time, right? Let's see. Now, right before season 4 dropped, there was a transcript that ended up getting put online from a Warner Brothers investor meeting. I'm pretty sure it was an investor meeting. It might have just been like a press talk or something like that. But in that transcript, Warner Brothers had come out and mentioned that Multiversus has been a loss of $100 million. So, with this information, there was a lot of pressure down for the game to succeed. It almost felt like Season 4 was do or die. It was like, if this fails, we're fucked, right? So, that kind of also, in a weird way, helped build the hype, because it feels like the multiverse as a concept has been like backed into a wall and really needs to impress like really needs to make an impression to stay online, right? To stay sticking around. So everyone's like biting their nails going into season 4. Everyone's very cautiously optimistic, and they got a lot of hype deep down. So now that we've like recapped everything leading up to season 4, let's go ahead and talk about my overall impression and the community's overall impression of season 4 as a whole. Overall, season 4 has probably been the most well represented, or most well, what's the word I'm looking for? Overall, season 4 has been the most well received season of Multiversus thus far. Hold on, let me try that one more time, just so it's not that annoying whenever I cut it up into content later. Overall, season 4 has been a extremely well regarded season thus far. This is probably the most positive feedback and discussion I've seen from the game in a long time. And a big part of that is the addition of short hops and faster fast falling, right? Overall, the game does feel faster because you're able to get down to the ground. It doesn't really feel nearly as floaty. It doesn't feel like you're stuck in the air for nearly as long. It feels faster, basically. It feels faster, and a lot of people have been really enjoying that. But what does RPS think of season 4 thus far? I'm a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'll get into it here in a second, but let's just go over all the things that season 4 has. Let's go over all the things that season 4 has added, some of the good things, some of the bad things, and we'll just cover it all. First things first, Raven, super cool, really fun, has a lot of depth to her, has a lot of really interesting moves that are very fun to use, very fun to combo off of. Feels really strong too. Maybe even a little too strong. She has like some pretty well-defined weaknesses. Like, for example, she cannot deal with armor. Like, she legitimately has like 2 options to deal with armor, and one of them is like a command grab that she only has access to on the ground. That's like kind of slow on startup and doesn't really even like hit in front of her all too well. I mean, I'd have to look at the hitboxes, but you know, we can't really do that. So she has like she definitely has some weaknesses here and there, and her moves are a little slower on startup in comparison to a few of the rest of the cast. But at the same time, she has some broken stuff too. Like, her Sair just kills super early. Like, if you don't have armor, I genuinely don't know what you're supposed to do against her Nair. It's like a super disjointed combo starter that's super fast and really difficult to actually whiff punish. Like, the answer is like either you parry it or you dodge out of the way and just reset back to neutral, or maybe you can hit it on startup. Maybe you can try to air it. It's just she's got a lot of really strong moves. She might be a little too strong, but I don't want to say anything yet. It's like the beginning of the season. You know, I don't think she's like overly dominant. I don't get into a game and be like, oh my god, it's Raven, we lose now, right? But she does feel quite strong indeed. And I don't know if she's going to get better or worse over time, but it is, she feels a little strong. I'll just say that. Another big thing that wasn't really mentioned in a lot of the lead up to the game, or lead up to season 4, is that they actively made a lot of drastic changes to some of the general perks. They still haven't really made any big changes to signature perks, but a lot of the general perks either got reworked or removed from the game, or buffed or nerfed in substantial ways. For example, they took out Weaken from the game on all but like 2 characters, basically. So that is interesting to see for sure. Like, you can't build a perk for it anymore. On top of that, things like the respawn with armor for like 4 seconds got removed from the game. They very briefly added a perk that made it so that whenever you dodged a projectile, you got armor, but was very, very quickly removed for being what I can imagine is just too broken. And then other perks kind of just got like silently axed from the game as well. One perk that wasn't even in the patch notes that it got axed was a perk that whenever you parried a projectile would reflect it. Completely gone from the game, completely removed. Very confusing, honestly. So it looks like, the takeaway I wanted to leave you guys with is that they're actively making huge changes to the perk system. So that gives me hope that perks are something that they're keeping their eye on, and they want to make more interesting, which is another complaint that a lot of people had going into like season 4. The addition of arena, super fun. I love arena mode. The first night I tried doing it on stream, it didn't really work too well. I'm guessing because the servers were a little newer, and the menus were kind of slow, and there was a lot of lever bots. Basically, anytime I got into a match, it wasn't uncommon for half of the lobby to be like lever bots by like 2/3 into the match. So that was, there's definitely a few things that are a little disappointing about arena mode. One of the bigger things is I think that the perk choices for arena mode are a little bland. I think that just feeling like you have better stats than your opponent feels a little uninspired and boring, honestly. But at the same time, I think the concept of arena mode is really, really fun. Going in, essentially like getting a very small select pool of characters that you can choose from, and having fun with like trying out new characters, new builds. Each game being different is something that I would really like to see explored more too. I think that some of the legendary perks are very interesting. I think having like an equipable batarang that you can just throw. I think that the bigger they are perk is very, very interesting. And some of the stat perks are interesting too. I think gold suit can be pretty interesting. Vampiric also is a little interesting, but I kind of wish that the variety of the game, it felt, I kind of wish the game felt like it had more variety, especially in the early game, right? Because right now, I've played a fair amount of arena, and I'm pretty sure Jazz is still on like the leaderboard for it. But it kind of just felt like every game was, all right, I do more damage, and I have more defense, and I'm gonna heal more, and then my fourth slot can either be even more damage or I guess getting the bigger they are perk. And that was like literally every game. For a game that I feel like was advertised as every game feels different, and you can try out new builds with different characters and see what builds have certain synergies with some characters and what builds don't have certain, like what builds work with certain characters and what builds don't. Like, I feel like that concept is really interesting and really, really fun. And I've had fun playing arena. I want to make that clear, but I think that the menus need work. I think that some of the smaller interactions, like for example, at the very beginning you can pick random for extra coins to start out with. I kind of dislike that whenever you hit random, you're stuck on one character. I kind of wish that when you hit the random button, you got a different character every round, because getting stuck on a character that you don't like is pretty annoying, Like, for example, if I see like a long list of characters and the only character I don't want to play is Finn, right? And I hit random because I want to take my chances. I'm stuck on Finn for like 30 minutes or so. And that's like one of the other big things about arena that I have a lot of complaints about. I think that arena takes way, way, way too long. For a fun game mode that I just want to like boot up and like have fun with, I don't want to have to sit there for like 30 minutes, right? I don't know if you want to fix that by making people take more damage, or making it so that if a team has 2 lever bots on it, the team is just disqualified. That'd help out a lot, I think. Or you know, I think we have a good amount of time in between rounds right now, but I think that there's probably too many rounds in general. I think the length of arena needs to be like sped up. The damage that you deal needs to be more, and I think that especially if you have like a strong lead, we don't need to like drag out a game, right? Like if I'm so stacked and my build's so broken, and I've had matches where we'll literally take like 7 stocks uncontested, but each stock you take, the issue is that it does less and less damage to their overall health. I'm gonna be so for real. If I take 7 stocks off your team and you don't take a single stock off me, you deserve to lose. You're done. You should be eliminated, basically. If you lose that hard, it should be over for you. And I think that would help a lot too. It would help like ease the snowballing effect, because sometimes you'll fight like a comp that has like a really broken build, and you'll just be like, well, I'm not beating that unless I get something broken myself, I guess. But yeah, there's a lot of like little issues I have with arena mode, but overall the concept's very fun, and I'm glad that this is a really interesting new game mode that they are looking to add into the game. I hope to see it pop off. Let's see. Another thing that was added in season 4 of Multiverses that has gotten a lot of positive feedback is short hops and fast falls. A lot of people will say that this made the game so much more fun. People have been saying things like, I can't stop playing Multiverses after the speed changes. But I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. I don't feel that much faster. I don't feel that much different. And I play the game a lot. I like, maybe it's because I play Jason or like a slower character in general. But for me personally, I was kind of disappointed to hear like consistently from like Ajax and Multiverses as a whole, like keep getting teased over and over and over again that, oh, we're speeding up the gameplay, the game's gonna get faster. Like, oh my god, there was like one tweet from Ajax that just had me livid, bro. Essentially, he like was responding to like a Flash MVS tweet where it was just a clip of him like schmooving on Jason, and Ajax responded like, but could you schmoove better if Jason was a little faster? And I was so hyped. I was like, oh my god, they really are gonna make every character faster. But then I got to the patch notes, and I noticed that only a select few characters actually got a speed increase. You could argue that what he was referring to here was the addition to fast fall, like faster fast falling and short hops, right? I think that's, the general consensus of what he was probably talking about. But it was pretty disappointing that whenever I booted up the patch notes and read over them, I have a video where you can see my entire reaction, that whenever I looked over the characters that actually got a speed increase, it was exclusively the characters that were already really annoying to catch. Characters like it was like characters like Rain Dog, characters like Gizmo, characters like LeBron James, these like Morty, like these zoners that are already super annoying to get your hands on because you have to like jump through like 5 million hoops of projectiles to actually like get to them. They buffed their speed just to make them even more annoying to run away from. Like there was a few characters that didn't really have that problem. Like there was a few characters that got speed buffs that didn't really have that problem. Like for example, Finn ended up getting a speed buff, even though I think he's also quite annoying to catch because, it's really annoying to get in on him whenever he's swinging his humongous sword. But even, and like Nubia also got a speed buff, so it wasn't entirely the annoying characters, but like 90% of the characters who got a speed buff were characters that were already like annoying to catch and annoying to fight, and it was really disappointing to me personally. especially after getting teased with something like Jason's getting faster, right? Because if they make Jason faster, like my thought process was they were making everyone faster. And just to reiterate one more time, I know they were probably just referring to the fast fall speed and the short hops. I know. But I think that a lot of people were really, really eager to see the gameplay speed up a little bit more. I know that people are really happy with the fast falls and the short hops and whatnot, but I don't even really think they all like do that much for the gameplay. I think they make the game feel tighter and it feel less floaty, and that's like what a lot of people want for the game, right? They want the game to feel less floaty. They want it to feel tighter, but I don't think they really do anything for the actual gameplay. Yet. I don't think they do anything for the actual gameplay yet. Now, why do I say yet? I say yet because they have been working in testing grounds with the shield mechanic. Now, shield has been a concept that people are very, very back and forth from. Some people love the idea that they're adding shields into the game, and some people hate the idea that they're adding shields into the game or thinking about adding shields into the game. They've been putting out surveys, they've been doing a lot of research, trying it out. They've been putting out the you can try it out in the testing grounds, you can try it out in like training mode, see how you feel about it, right? But I think overall shields will help the game a ton. And honestly, I was a little disappointed they didn't launch season 4 with shields. And a big reason for that, the big reason why I'm a big advocate for shields is there's so many little pain points about the game that are very easily fixed by them adding shields. One of the most annoying things about multiverses is knowing that someone's going to do a move and not being able to do anything about it. And there's so many characters like that. There's so many characters that are like nigh impossible to actually whiff punish. And in order to whiff punish, you have to resort to some of the worst parts of the game, which is jab versus with dodging through their attack and just whiff punishing with jab, right? And a lot of people hate that, right? Like the fact there's so many issues that just arise because they don't have a shield. So many annoying things that just pop up without shields. But by adding shields, you can start punishing things like the Wonder Woman there. You can start punishing things like jabs. Like, I don't know if you guys seen the tweet from Bands, but Bands tried out shields in the testing grounds, and he was very surprised to see that you can't cancel attacks on shield, not even jabs. So because of that, you can start punishing the more annoying things to deal with in multiverses, like jabs. If someone jabs your shield, you get a real out of shield punish. If Wonder Woman nares on your shield, you get a real out of shield punish. If Shaggy kicks your shield, if you react and like block his side B, you get a real genuine punish. There's so many attacks in this game that like you could know with 100% accuracy that they're going to do this move right now. Like you're fighting Banana Guard, right? What is he going to do? You know what he's going to do. You know he's going to run at you with Nair. You know he's going to run at you with Sarah and like literally do nothing else. He's just going to turn his brain off and hit his like attack stick towards you and just like eat glue while he does it. But you can't do anything about it because trying to whiff punish Banana Guard doing that is like almost impossible. Let me clarify. It's not almost impossible, but it requires a much harder, a much more specific read than it is necessary, right? And you have to be way, way, way out of the way in order to actually like punish something like that. Like in order for me to punish Banana Guard running at me with Nair and Sayer, I have to basically double jump up to ensure that I am out of the way of Banana Guard like doing that. And then I have to read whether he's gonna full drift forward, so I double jump back so I can down air him, or if he's gonna like drift forward with Sayer and then stop in place. Like there's so many like little reads that you have to make in order to punish something so unbelievably simple, you know? And it just makes the game really, really annoying. And shields help remedy a lot of these issues. Um, like I know a lot of people are very scared of multiverses losing their identity or uh becoming just more and more like Smash, but I really don't think shields are the that hill to die on. I think that multiverses has way more interesting things that make it unique in regards to other platform fighters, with the most unique thing being that it's balanced for 2v2s instead of 1v1s. That's like the number one reason to play multiverses. And not to mention that they have other really unique things like cooldowns, and they allow characters to have like really broken moves because of cooldowns. They have so many unique things in multiverses that I don't think shields like being added is the hill we need to die on. I think it could help the game in extreme ways. I think it could patch up so much about the game that a lot of people don't really realize. And let's see. There's another. A lot of people are there's like a misconception about shields because a lot of people are like, oh my god, they're adding shields, but they're not adding grabs. This game, this game is cooked. We have no way to deal with shields. Shields are going to be too strong. They're going to be too powerful. And I feel like they're ignoring the fact that they're adding a universal shield break mechanic that essentially functions just like grab. Like, literally one-to-one with grab, right? In the sense that you can only do it on the ground, and it breaks shields and gives you true combos. I don't really, like, it's technically not a grab, but only visually. It functions in the exact same ways a grab would otherwise. But I don't know. Just in general, I was really excited to see shields in season 4, and I personally hope that they add shields officially in season 4 in the 0.5 mid-season update. But at the same time, I know that they probably won't do that because they want to preserve rank, right? It would feel really, really weird to have ranked be like essentially two very different modes, right? Like no shields and shields, right? It would feel very unrepresentative of like the actual rank. Do they actually care? They might not. They might just add shields at season 4.5, but I have a feeling that they're going to hesitate because they're scared of people being upset that their rank is essentially for a different game. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. What else? I'm looking through my list now to see if there's anything else I need to mention. There's a few other. Oh, all right. We got to talk about Fighters Road. We got to talk. Before we mention Fighters Road, I'll briefly touch on the hitbox overhaul. I think people like it overall, but it still needs a little work. I mean, that's to be expected. They're not going to fix all the hitboxes overnight, right? We're still going to find some degenerate stuff, and it's on us to like report it so that they can fix it and improve the game like as time goes on. Let's talk about Fighters Road, because this is probably the number one worst thing about season 4 by far. Fighters Road is pretty much worse than Fighters Currency in every conceivable way possible. For one, you can't pick the fighters that you unlock at all. You might be able to pick from like a selection of 3 in some tiers, but the fact that you have to unlock characters before you get to the character that you actually want is a huge flaw. The other big thing is that you can't save up for future fighters. For example, if if I am like, if I have all the characters, which I do, right? And Raven is about to come out. Uh, and I'm excited with fighter currency. I can say, like, I can keep playing the game, and I'll have enough fighter currency by the time Raven comes out to actually get her. Right? That's pretty much how that works. If I keep playing, I'll have enough saved up to play her immediately. Right? With Fighters Road, you can't start making progress towards new characters until they come out. I think that if they replaced the play this character early thing that they do and replace it with this, I don't think it would be that bad. But it's so annoying to not even be able to make progress to a character that you won't be able to play for like multiple days. You know what? You guys know what I'm saying? Like, why for one am I not allowed to even like play the character at all for 3 days unless I pay like real money, right? And then on top of that, even if that wasn't the case, I also have to earn enough Fighters Road XP to unlock the character, which will take like 3 more days. So I probably won't even have the character until like 6 days after they're released. If they were just removed one or the other, I think it wouldn't be that bad. I think they should remove both, but I understand that they want money, right? Let's be 100% real. Both of these tactics are because they're trying to pressure people into buying the character. As a free to play game, you kind of have to respect the hustle for that, right? I know it's like shitty for the consumer, and it's definitely not ideal, but at the same time, they can't just be giving things away for free all the time, right? Especially since they're already $100 million down, right? I'm sure that they're really like panicking, trying to find any way that they can like reasonably try to get people to actually like put money into the game, right? So let's see. What else about Fighters Road? Yeah, the removal of fighter currency technically also gives you less ways to like earn, I guess, a method of unlocking characters. Let's see. Sorry, I decided to look over chat for a second. We'll take chat questions here shortly after, but or we'll respond to chat shortly afterwards. But let's see. But yeah, it's pretty obnoxious. Fighters Road as a whole has been very, very highly critiqued, and a lot of people were hoping that Fighters Road would be a new way of getting fighters easier, because a big complaint was that getting fighters was really, really hard for newer players. So seeing this made a lot of people quite upset. But that's not to say that the addition of Fighters Road was all bad. There was 2 things regarding getting characters that were improved with Season 4. One of the big things is that they did finally add the ability to buy all the characters at a discount. If you own more characters, the discount's higher and higher, right? Like, you have to pay less and less for each individual character, for each character you already own. So that's very, very nice. It gives people an option to just pay a lump sum of money and be able to play any of the characters that they want, which very nice, very cool, very, very swag, very awesome. That's something that people have been asking for a really, really long time. Another good thing is that characters were no longer locked behind the battle pass. I mentioned it before, but characters were locked behind the battle pass for literally months. Powerpuff Girls, Jason, Samurai Jack. If you didn't get the battle pass for that season, you had to wait until next season to actually buy them from the fighter store, right? So they basically removed removed that, which a lot of people are very, very appreciative of. Now, I do think that you can have both. I think that you can have the character tier 1 in the battle pass for free. Well, not for free, once you buy the battle pass for the first tier, but also be available in their fighter store. You know what I'm saying? I think that a lot of people were kind of upset that they didn't get to play Raven on day 1 like they have been able to with the other battle pass characters. Obviously they changed out with a skin for Raven, which is nice, but I think that there is something nice about just getting a character for free with the battle pass, quote unquote, right? Just don't lock them behind it, I think that's the big issue a lot of people took with it. Let's see. And lastly, in regards to characters, in general, I think that Arena gives you a good chance to play characters that you don't own. I think that that's one of the big things that Arena is very, very good at. I think that Arena, being able to like give you random characters allows you to try a lot of the roster, especially if you don't have a lot of the characters. You can use Arena mode to start to like do your quests or try out new characters that you might vaguely be interested in like an actual game. I think that does a lot for the community as well. So I'm glad to see that they were willing to like, let people try out characters through Arena. I think that's great for the game. Let's see what else. I think the last thing I'll talk about is the balance. I think that balance debatably is the best it's ever been. Debatably. And the reason I say that is that Powerpuff Girls is still like touch of deathing you, right? I think that there are a few characters that feel pretty weak right now. Samurai Jack in particular, I think feels quite weak. But I think that you can play almost every character in the game now, with some like variants of success, right? I don't think that there's a character who I would call weak in this game, aside from Samurai Jack. But at the same time, I wouldn't say that there's any character that I would say is broken or over the top anymore, with the exception of Powerpuff Girls, right? So I think balance is like pretty good. Granted, once again, I said it at the beginning of the video, but I think the balance has been getting consistently better and better, even though there was a lot of doomers in Season 3 when people were getting touch of death by Banana Guard and Powerpuff Girls. Unfortunately, Powerpuff Girls is still touch of deathing people, but I am sure that will get addressed at some point, hopefully. At least Banana Guard's not doing it anymore, am I right? Okay, so conclusion. Is the game going to stay online? I'm not a Warner brother. I can't give you the 100% yes or no, but I think it will. I think the game has a really good chance right now to continue getting better and better and like continue growing more and more. And I think that while Warner Brothers has indeed put a lot of money into the game, $100 million, as the report had said. There are factors that are really, really good to. There's factors for Warner Brothers that make Multiversus really, really good to keep around, that aren't as noticeable through like sales directly. And one of the big things is marketing. I think that being able to have a large enough fighting game is inherently going to give you the ability to make your IPs more relevant, to keep them relevant and fresh. If you guys like look at Super Smash Brothers, you like almost any game dev would be like jubilated to have their character in Super Smash Brothers, because that means that their game's gonna have more relevance. It's gonna reach more people. It's gonna like in general, that's like free marketing. It's like an additional way to advertise. Well, not free, obviously. People definitely pay a ton of money for stuff like that, but you get the idea. It's like an additional way to keep their IPs relevant and advertise, which I think that Warner Brothers probably acknowledges, right? Even if their physical return on invest, or their like literal return on investment from the product itself isn't like all that. Um I should also mention that the numbers of multiverses in general are okay. They're not bad. They're not bad. A lot of people doom because, there's not nowhere near the numbers the game officially launched with. But in comparison to games like Guilty Gear Strive, Rivals of Aether 2, and a few others, the numbers for the game are quite good, I would say. You could argue that it's because it's free to play, or that because it's on like all the consoles and stuff like that. And that's true. That's true. There's a lot of reasons for why Multiversus numbers are doing well. But at the same time, it is still important to recognize that having a consistent like 3K players it's not irrelevant. That's like pretty relevant in the field of fighting games. It's no Fortnite, but fighting games have never been a Fortnite or anything like that. So let's wrap it up with what I would like to see going forward for Season 4.5, Season 5, just onward entirely. The first thing is shields, of course. I already went over it a ton, but I got my fingers crossed that they add shields in the mid-season. I don't think they will, because they'll probably want to save a large gameplay development for the new season, just so it doesn't affect rank too much. But I would really like to see, I personally would really like to see shields added in Multiverses. Secondly is a universal speed increase. It was so upsetting to me that all of the characters, it was so upsetting to me that all of the characters who got an actual speed increase, like a legitimate speed stat increase, were all the characters that were already really, really annoying to fight. I think that really hurts the feel and enjoyment of the game. Of course, it'll be more fun, I guess, and feel less risky to run away from people, but I really don't think that's what people want in the game right now. Let's see. I want to see more drastic adjustments to perks. I think they've already started off by reworking perks and really like adjusting the numbers, changing how mechanics work in general. I want to see more of that. Perks in general, very, very underutilized, and I think most people agree. I want to see better methods for acquiring characters. Honestly, get rid of Fighter's Road. Legit get rid of Fighter's Road. Bring back fighter currency, and I guess just make fighter currency easier to get. I already thought it was quite easy, but if, the general public, the general community thinks it's like still too difficult to get, then, just make adjustments to make it feel a little bit better. Just make, each game give you so and so amount of fighter currency, right? Until it feels good enough for, like a free to play player, if it's like a complaint that you're seeing a lot, then it's probably, something you need adjustments on, right? Let's see. Local tournament support. I haven't mentioned this, but right now it is almost impossible to host locals for this game. Part of it is suffering from success. There's a lot of online tournaments that are free to enter with large prize pools for Multiverses. And because their online is so good, there's not a lot of reason for people to actually show up to tournaments at all, really. which is quite upsetting for someone who wants to start building a grassroots community. I think that Rivals 2 also has this issue, but Rivals themselves are giving away like skins to like skin codes to local tournaments in order to help people get out and go to those local tournaments. That could be something like, even if it's just a shirt, right? Even if it's just a shirt skin for a character of their choice, right? I think that would go a long way in helping motivate people to actually go out to tournaments. I think Rivals 2 had the right idea, and I think that's something we want to take inspiration from. And lastly is please, 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 please communicate more player first games. Or don't lie, or don't be misleading. Like I said, I was like really, really upset when they were teasing speed increases, and I mean, I guess they weren't lying necessarily with the fast fall speed increase, but for me personally, I was just kind of expecting and hoping that there'd be a little bit more. But like even to like other pro players that help run the game, they're really bad at communicating with. I don't know if you guys know, but Void put out a video where he talked about an experience with player first games where he was invited to like talk with them at TwitchCon and talk about the game. And then after Void had got his hotel, drove over there, and pretty much basically the day before they were supposed to meet up and talk about the game, he got like an email from Player First Games saying like, hey, actually we're not doing that. Sorry. And that is not okay. That is not a thing that you want to do with the community. If you want feedback, you have to be like you have to be willing to talk about the game state and like give feedback. You can't be leading on like some of your most prominent community members like that and like sullying like their faith in the game, because if you sully the faith of the most like prominent people who are really trying to support and push your game, then chances are your game's not going to survive very long. But I think that about wraps it up. Thanks everyone so much. Hold on. Before we wrap it up, I'm gonna go ahead and take questions and look at the responses from chat. I have basically not been watching the entire, I've kept chat down so that I would, be able to wrap this up and talk about it in a relatively timely manner, but here, let me see what chat has to say. Arena is pretty cool. Yep. Yeah, I do love Arena. Twitter will keep this game alive. Yep, all the discourse is happening on Twitter. All right, let's keep going down. Are we doing that well-designed characters this vid or another? We're going to be doing that on Thursday, probably, Flapjack. We're going to be doing the best designed characters tier list. I want to try on Thursday. We'll see. Let's see. Let's see. I'm reading back through the old messages right now. Here I'll put up this one so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Let's see. Guys, supporting games. Okay, I'm glad people like Raven. Yes, I mentioned at the beginning of the content piece that I seen that Multiversus got nominated for best fighting game of the year. I voted for it, but like kind of reluctantly. I don't think it'll win, but I support the game. I like the game. I enjoy it. All right. I'll just read the most recent ones first. Batman's pretty fun. Yep. My biggest fear is that Warner Brothers will conflate this season 4 hype and engagement as support for their recent short-term practices, such as adding more exclusive limited type skin and in an even shorter season time. Yeah, I think that I think that's why it's important for us to talk about this. I think it's important for us to talk about not only the good, but also the bad. I think they need our feedback. Uh, because I think that season 4 is very, very well received, and I think it's well received for good reasons, but not everything about everything they've added in season 4 is great, and they kind of need to work on that, and they kind of need to refine that. I'm usually someone who really, really I'm usually someone who is uh, a lot of people would call me a glazer for multiverses, right? I always try to be positive because for the longest time in multiverses, everyone has been like really, really negative about their opinions and like the state of the game, which I think is dishonest. I think that a lot of people are trying to shit on the game for dishonest reasons, and the hate is just so overwhelming whenever it comes to talking about multiverses that I always have tried to be the person who would spread the positivity, spread the good stuff about multiverses. And I kind of hate that I'm being the contrarian now when everyone's happy about the game. I'm the person who's like kind of shitting on it a little bit. But we have to like acknowledge that there is good. There's great things that happen this season, but not everything is great and it still needs work. Mm-mm. Yeah. I'm not a partner. I'm not a partner yet. And even whenever I am, like, if they ever do ambassador me, one of my, like, things in the contract or whatever, however they screen or do that, is that I need to be able to talk about the good and the bad of the game, not just glaze it. Like, a lot of people will still call me a glazer, especially if I have that ambassador title, but you guys, I promise you guys, you can always expect 100% honesty from me. And if they say that you can be an ambassador, but you can't talk shit on the game, then I'm gonna decline it. All right, let's see here. Uh, the trading cards are giving away specific or cute things that really motivate. And oh yes, the trading cards would be a really cool idea. Uh, I really do think that like if they were willing to give out those trading cards for tournaments and stuff like that more often, it would help motivate people to go to these events, right? I'm done with multiverses myself. I don't like the gameplay this season. Something doesn't feel right with me, Superman, compared to the other characters. Hey, that's understandable. Like I said, I think that the speed changes feel nice, and I think a lot of people really enjoy them. The ability to get to the ground faster and just feel less floaty when playing the game. In general, a lot of people really, really like, but it's not going to be for everyone. And to me, at least, I didn't really feel like it changed a whole lot. I think that this is something I wanted to mention before. I think that once shields are added, this fast falling change that we've been seeing is going to be a lot more important. I think that right now there's not really a reason to tomahawk, but let's say you're playing someone who doesn't have like an air command grab, right? You jump into the air, so the opponent thinks, oh, he only has access to his aerials now, so I'm just going to block, and if he throws out an aerial, I'll get to punish him for it. But now with the fast fall changes, you can short hop, fast fall really fast, and then go for your like shield break move. And like tomahawks will be real. That'll be a real added depth to the game. Let's see. To fix Fighters Road, they just need to make half the current XP to unlock. Also, when there's mutual toast, they give 200 to 250 XP for that. Yeah, I think that's true. I think that could help. I think there's a lot of things that they could do to help with Fighters Road in general. I think that one big thing for Fighters Road, at least for me, is I really need them to probably do away with the play this character early for this much money, right? I think that you can either have like the play them early for however much money you can have that, or you can have Fighters Road, because right now there's no way to make progress towards a character that's like coming out. You can't save up for it, right? So I think that if you do away with that tradition that they have right now, they'll essentially still have it, but it'll be a little bit more satisfying, right? You can either pay immediately to unlock them on Fighter's Road, or you can like earn them over the course of like a day or two through just playing the game in Fighter's Road XP, you know? Oh yeah, they still don't have a toast back button. This is true. Yeah, the partnership boat probably sailed a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, look, I love the game. I really do. I want the best for it, but you know, player versus retcon the toast back button. Yeah. I think having event skins in the battle pass is lazy. I wish there was a quality skin for a character at the end. 4 out of 6 of the skins in the battle pass are either Magic Vista or Trigun. I think the Mystic Vista skins are cool looking. But I do think the Trigun one is kind of whatever. I agree. I think that it's kind of lazy. But I also do wish they put more effort into higher quality skins, especially for characters that don't really even have skins. I mean, Agent Smith doesn't even really like. Agent Smith has a lot of skins, but they're all just like recolors, right? There's nothing really interesting, and there's a lot of characters like that. A lot of characters that don't like that are just kind of like stuck with pretty much recolors. And then I'm sure you guys have noticed, but like Black Adam and Velma basically being the only characters that get like skins on the battle pass like consistently is pretty obnoxious. I wish they'd add more skins for more characters. But I think that about wraps up everything for everything I want to talk about with season 4 of Multiverses. Once again, I think there's a lot that season 4 does really, really well, but at the same time, we got to be honest and critique the stuff that could be a little bit better so that we have a solid direction for the game going forward. All right. Whoa. Sorry, my cats just ran in here. Animals are going crazy, I guess. Okay. God, all right. Sorry. There's chaos going on in my house right now. I'm not too sure what's going on. All right, but yeah, that wraps up the video piece for now. Season 3 had the best event skins so far. Dia de los Muertos and Halloween were dope sets, but you can tell it was a fluke. Yeah, I think that season 3 definitely had some really fun skins. All right, guys. So I wanted to do the Loxodont video, but I don't think I have enough time because I only have like 30 minutes before I'm probably gonna wrap up stream. So I say let's do Stream Arena just to end off stream. Anyone who wants to get in on the arena is more than welcome to. I'll go ahead and put up the code shortly, and then anyone who wants to jump in can join. You started a rank set. You got a second. Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna take a brief bathroom break, but it should give people enough time to like actually get in. Oh, it canceled matchmaking. Oh, that's something I should have talked about in the video. I stopped recording, but I definitely should have talked about that being like a problem. Here, let's go ahead and start an arena. Jazz, you getting in? You getting in on this? All right. Code's up. This is it. RHHKS. I'm gonna use the bathroom. Give people a little bit of time to get in here, and we'll go ahead and run it whenever people are ready. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Looks like everyone's still in a set. No, Jabberson had to go. That is unfortunate. Nespresso. Anyone else wanting in? We're probably gonna run one real fast one. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I know I'm a bit of a yapper. I need to work on like how I do my yapping videos. I'm probably gonna edit this one, so don't expect that one to be out for a few days. Dude, I'm so sad that bands beat me to it. Like, I was scrolling through my YouTube and I seen like, or no, I was scrolling through Twitter and I seen that Bands literally did a "we need to talk about season 4 of Multiversus." He like literally did it like, oh my god, he beat me to the punch. What can I say? Granted, I still do be getting more views than Bands. All I'm gonna say. Guys, where you at? There he is. All right, everyone ready up. Ready up, and we'll go ahead and get it started. Subtle but necessary flex. Okay, all right. While I wait on Jazz to ready up, dude, there was a tweet that was going around recently. It was like, "Who's your favorite Multiversus content creators?" And I was looking through. I was like, seeing names I recognized, names I was like, you know, as a fan of myself. You know, I'd see Bands, I'd see Gaston, I'd see Fat Pack. You know, I'd see a lot of, you know, names I recognize, names I was a fan of. But you know what name I didn't see? I didn't see me. No one said me. I think I ran into Jazz early in rank 2s. Yeah. Jazz, here, I actually don't know. Am I still Grandmaster? I'm not. Dang. Or am I? I don't think I am. Yeah, I think I'm just Master 5. Crazy Knock. Yeah, that's another one. That's another one I seen. But no one in that comment section said me, dude. Oh, dude, I'm literally one off from Grandmaster. I'm literally one below Grandmaster. That's so sad. But I was so upset. Jazz, why are you readied up, brother? What's going on? Maybe he went to the bathroom or something. Most of the MBS creators I know are on TikTok. You and B Plus are the only YouTubers I watch. Okay, okay. But yeah, I had some TikTok stuff. I need to upload more to TikTok. I mean, I recently have been uploading like Rivals stuff. Oh, dude, one of the complaints I like confronted one of the people that's usually in my stream chat that was in that thread. I was like, dude, you didn't mention me? Really? You're in my stream chat regularly. And he's like, oh, well, you don't upload anymore. And I'm like, that hurt my soul because, like, you know, I put out like a Rivals video and a Smash documentary I've been working on a long time, and I guess they don't think I'm a Multiversus content creator no more. That was so sad. Did matchmaking? What's happening? It made me so sad. It really did. I seen Video Brian say that, and dude, I laughed tech with Video Brian. Or is it Video Brain? I might just be dyslexic, guys. Alright, do we re-roll for the funny? Do we re-roll for the funny? I have Jason. Do I re-roll for the funny? Do I play random for the funny? That's what I meant to say. I could probably play any of these characters. I'm probably comfortable with all these. Jake would be a little awkward. Am I winning? You know what? I love money. I love money so much. Full wage. Ah, I literally just hit the button. Oh my god. Jake was the one guy that I didn't want. Alright, it's fine. Can you send a clip of that? No random, because I don't want to play Iron Giant. Fair. Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Hey, 10 seconds?
I just wanted to, dude, I got such a broken start, actually. I just wanted to, because I enjoy it. You know, I like all the characters. I survived fully charged sniper punch at 400. What? Oh, okay, with like full weight. I see, I see. That is crazy. It didn't move, really? Dude, yeah. The what's it called? Cement shoes plus the gold suit, those go insane. You literally just don't take knockback. Here's to hoping my teammate isn't a leaver. I wish the best for you. Hey, I'm glad it's like actually working though. Last time I tried this on stream, it just straight up didn't work. Yeah, that's fair. How do you do that? How do you do the inverse horse maneuver? It looks so funny. I gotta know. I've seen the clip, but I don't know how to do it. Oh. Jazz is so troll. Dude, my early perk set is so broken. I literally have everything I could want. Yeah, I like arena mode a whole lot. The worst part genuinely is that I don't feel like the perks start getting interesting until like late game. You need to assign special left side button so you can hold it and walk the way you want. Ah, I see, I see. I wish I had that. My left bumper is parry. This is back when it was like pretty important to like DI and also be able to parry. Man, I didn't talk about it at all because, you know, I'd start getting into like the actual like history of Multiversus as a whole. But yeah, I didn't talk about it at all because it'd start getting into the history of Multiversus as a whole. But I kind of hate the changes they made to parry in season 1 to where like there was like a delay to your parry if you did it out of hit stun. It made it so that like there's a lot more like kind of annoying touch of deaths that I feel like there should have been. But yeah, I haven't, you know, we haven't done the we couldn't do the Loxodont video tonight, but I want to try it sometime soon. I might be on tomorrow, and if I am, I'll do the talking about Loxodont video. The talking about Loxodont video shouldn't be nearly as long as the Multiversus one was tonight. So who knows? If everything goes well, I might get on tomorrow and do the Loxodont video and the character design tier list.
Time to punch some bumps.
So could be nice. I'll definitely like put out like a community post and a tweet if I end up doing anything tomorrow, so you guys can know in advance.
Gotta fight hard, gotta fight good. Gonna fight you like a good guy should.
To me.
That's it. I'm writing you a prescription for a beating. Let's test your reflexes.
Only 1 minute left.
Nice. You know, I don't know what exactly it is about Jake, but he does feel a lot better this season. Like I know that like he got buffed, but I didn't think the buffs were that substantial.
How's this make your head feel?
Dude, yeah, he feels way better. I think Jake in particular is also probably pretty good in this game mode. Oh my god, you're so BM, Jazz.
Out of time, dude. Totally mathematical victory. Sweet. Yoink. Let's go.
But yeah, one of the bigger issues I have with arena mode is that a lot of the games, they'll look like this. Like investor, hard hitter, brick wall. And maybe damage sponge sometimes. Oh, if I got the ring out heal thing, it'd be that too. And that would basically just be pretty much every game. There's a lot of like little things that, you know, there's a lot of perks that seem interesting but aren't nearly as good. Like, look at Jazz's. Jazz has literally the exact same thing as me, except he also has ring out refresh. Yeah, literally what Jazz's perks are. That's like, you know, that's like the optimal. Like, we can look at, you know, Wise Jr., who's in the chat. He has the same thing, and except aside from like brick wall, he has damage sponge, which, you know, is also does a very similar thing to brick wall. It's like, you know, I wish some of the perk choices were more interesting, and it felt like I could have like more specific builds like game to game. Because I think they want each game to feel different. I think they want each game to have like its own variety, own decision making, and like what might be good for one character might not be good for another character, and so on and so forth.
Only 1 minute left.
Dude, what are they gonna do? Oh, that I guess. Dude, hitting the sweet spot up tilt or like side air, so good. I love that shit. Like, one thing that I feel like, I mean, it gets talked about a lot, but I for good reason. The sound design in this game, amazing. The voice acting's great. The like, each hit sounds very, very good. Like, the game has so much, like, it has so many, like, good, strong points from an auditory standpoint. I think the music could be a little bit better. It's got good stuff, but, I mean, I'm sure you guys may have noticed. But, I'm sure you guys may have noticed. But I do have my music off so that I can play my own music. So, you know, I'm definitely not, like, booting up Multiversus and like, oh no, I gotta hear these bangers, you know. I think that there's a few games where I don't want to turn on my own music. Like Rivals of Aether 2, I actually really, really love playing like Rivals of Aether 2 with background, like the music in the game, you know. Do you think Multiversus will stay another year? I hope. I think it will. I think that and I was talking about this earlier in the video, I think that while the Warner Brothers statement of them like losing $100 million on this game is like scary to think about, I think that the game offers value in ways that aren't like immediately recognizable through like sales alone, right? And like the big thing is like IP relevance and advertising and marketing, right? Like you know, you can find like charts to see how effective the marketing from Multiversus helps, right? But it's definitely not as simple as our game isn't making a lot of money and we're putting a lot of money into the game, right? There's like other factors. I remember speaking to Tony at Evo, it seemed like the game would survive a long while, so that's giving me some mental insurance. Yeah, I think we have hope, you know. I don't know. I wish we'd hear more from Tony, honestly. I feel like there was a very there was like a really nice period of time where Multiversus was like really in touch with the community. Like they hosted their own tournaments. You guys remember Make It Rain Dog? That was like an official online like tournament series that was hosted by Multiversus themselves. We don't have stuff like that anymore. We don't have random interviews with Tony where he talks about like his like opinions on the game state and like the direction he wants to take things. We don't have that anymore. The most we have is like the Into the Verses, which almost always happen like a day before the new season drops. Oh, I wanted to ask something. Back at the start of the season 2, where Tony told me that Jason was in a good spot because he had a high win rate and was doing well, when you said it was odd, he was. Yeah, I think it was. I remember that comment. But yeah, I thought it was a. Hold on. I need to decide if I want to just like hit super hard or not. I think I'm a sell investor. Get this. But yeah, that was because at the time his win rate was very bad. Now it's pretty good. But I was very surprised to hear that he had one of the highest win rates in the game because according to all the other sources that you could check, his win rate was just okay. Now it's good. Now it's very good after like the buffs. Like now he's like one of the highest pick rate characters in the game with like a pretty solid like 50% win rate. And I genuinely do think that Jason's in a really good spot now. But it was very surprising at that point in time when you left that comment to see them nerf Jason, you know, because his win rate was not what it is now, or at least from what I could see. Yeah, I mean, Tracker.gg isn't super accurate. It doesn't like accurately track all of the games. Like I remember checking my Tracker.gg and they leave out like, you know, it'll just straight up miss some games. But at the same time, like when you're working from like a large sample pool, like for example, this one, like this is like from almost 6,000 wins, so it's like what, almost like 12,000 games total. And I think that's a large enough sample size for this to be like an accurate enough win rate. But whenever you're looking at like individual like player profiles, it's a little different. But yeah, it was interesting to hear. It was definitely interesting to hear you say that Tony and Player First Games had thought that Jason's win rate was very good because at the time he was like one of the lowest in the game. Also at the time, it was a very common community consensus that the 3 worst characters in the game were Velma, then Jason, then Garnet, then Jake. Like, at the time, those were like the worst characters in the game. But then as times went on, Jason's got like better and better. They've like buffed him, and like his meta has developed as well. So, you know, Jason's in a pretty good spot right now, I think. I mean, look, I don't know what's taking so long. I hope that my lobby's not bugged. But here, let me, come on now. Jazz, is it bugged for you too? Is it stuck? We just finished our match? Okay, yeah, maybe it was like just super laggy for a group. Doing the skip round thing? Is it the same on your screen as it is on mine? Oh, disconnected. Alright, that is unfortunate. We are now lever bots. That is quite unfortunate. You think you'd go to you think you'd go to Evo next year to meet him or talk or get the trading card? I got them to sign the giveaway Jason card. It was a fun time. I'd really like to. I honestly didn't know. I mean, I guess I probably should have figured they were going to Evo, but I didn't know they were going to Evo. But next year, especially if Multiversus gets announced at Evo, I will 100% be trying to go. All right, but you know, I think that wraps it up for now. I think that wraps the stream for tonight. It is unfortunate. It is mad unfortunate that we got Lever. Oh no! Wait, Jazz, are you actually still in game? Ah, no. No, I'm a Lever bot, guys. This sucks. I really gotta change my Multiversus name to Leverbot. I'd troll so many people. They'd feel like they're getting so cooked by a Leverbot. I did lose the RPS of my connection. This is true. But yeah, I think that'll probably wrap up. I think that'll probably wrap up stream for tonight. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I may or may not be on tomorrow. We'll see. I really want to get more content flowing, just so I can have a more consistent stream going. Cause I've had people tell me that they don't think I upload that often, and while I do upload only twice a month, or once every other week, you know, I guess I could be doing it more. So I'm gonna be trying to get that content out. So I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna go ahead and edit that. And yeah, hopefully it should be up by this Friday, and who knows, maybe tomorrow we'll make our character design tier list, and we'll make our character design tier list, and we will talk about Loxodont in Rivals of Aether 2. So I hope to see you guys next time, whenever that may be. For now, peace out, and you guys have a nice night, guys. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, the Fireman. That actually really does. That genuinely makes my day. I'm so glad to hear that. All right, for real, I'm heading off. All right, peace out, everyone.